If you're a guitar or piano player, one important thing to be able to do is chord melody, playing the chords and the melody of a jazz standard at the same time. But this presents a particular challenge, especially for jazz guitar players. So what are the basics of chord melody and how do you do it? Let's talk about it. So I'm gonna walk you through some strategies that I use to play chord melody on my guitar, but if you're a piano player or even a non-chordal instrument, there's still things that you can learn here from walking through my process. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start creating a chord melody to the tune Polka Dots and Moonbeams. It's a beautiful jazz ballad, so this is a great opportunity. Now, the basics of chord melody are we need to find the melody notes and match them with the chords. So it goes out saying that you need to know the melody just by itself really well. Right? So know it super well by itself before even attempting chord melody, because if you don't know that melody very well, it's going to be very difficult to start adding chords. So what we always want to be thinking about is what is the melody note and what chord can we fit under it so that that melody note is the top note. So the first note is this note. And what I want to do is find the nearest F major chord, because this is the first chord of the tune. It's F major 7. So that's our melody note. This is one place I can play it on the neck of the guitar. So I'm going to choose this one, and we can just play a basic F major 7 voicing just like this to start. Or here's another one that I like, where we have an open string right there. That could be a good one. So let's do that. And then another thing that I want you to know is that you don't have to play a chord for every single note. So check this out. Basically, I want to choose notes that I really want to emphasize with the chords. Right? Now that chord is the 6th chord. It's the 2nd chord of the tune. It goes F major 7 to D7. And when I look at the melody note, it's actually the sharp 9 of that 6, okay? So a little music theory goes a long way as well. And the most basic voicing I can play that would put that sharp 9 on top, the melody note, would be this basic dominant 7 sharp 9 voicing. Now we could explore other opportunities, but I just want to walk through the basics right now. So, okay, now we have that nice sharp 9 voicing there. Important to know that you can play a chord for every single note. I personally don't prefer that style. I think it just sounds a little bit clunky, and I would just say find the chords that are most important to emphasize in your chord melody. So, right? So once again, I didn't play a chord for every note. Okay, I wanted to emphasize the 2 chord because it goes F major 7, D7 to G minor 7. That's the 2 chord. And the melody note is the 9th of that 2 chord. And this is just a very basic minor 9 voicing over top of this G minor. So perfectly good choice to use. So far we have, there's our 5 chords. So I'm really nailing all those chords. I'm adding a flat 9 in the melody, and that's a lesson you can do as well. Is if you want to add tension into a voicing, like adding a flat 9, then you can sometimes fudge the melody a little bit and change it up. So, or if I want to play the actual melody note, that would just be the regular 9, and here's a great 9 voicing that you can use. Right? So, back at the top of the melody again, we can use this same voicing, or we can even change it up. So I'm really trying to find voicings that fit nicely underneath that top note, which should be the melody note. Okay, let's keep going through. So let's do something similar again. Okay, now we have this as our melody note, and there's a lot of different choices we could do. But the one I think I want to choose today is this voicing like this for the minor 7, the G minor 7. But I'm going to add the B flat and the bass. So it has that nice kind of almost pedally sound to it. So we have, now the next chords that we have going on are E minor 7 flat 5 A7 to D minor 7. So it's a 2-5-1 to D minor. And again, the melody is, right? That's what we're trying to go to, the D minor 7. So what voicings can I play underneath that? So here's an option, right? This is our E minor 7 flat 5 basic voicing. If I extend it here, then I have this melody note at top. Okay, and the melody note here, I could play right here. This is the A7, the 5. This works really well. And then I can resolve it to this kind of 4th D minor 7th voicing. So far, this is what we have in the chord melody. Right? Let's try a different approach and see if it works. So let's go. Okay, so this strategy that I'm using is basically adding what I would call ornaments. So again, I'm deviating a bit away from the melody in order to add some different flavors. So that's a nice 7 sus4 voicing. I'm moving the melody note up to the actual melody note right there, right? So that could be a good approach. Now, the next part of the melody is, there's a bass note movement there. And something we could do here that would be really cool is to add some single note bass line movement. So, right? So we could do something like that. Now what I did right there is actually just a 2-note voicing. So if you can't find a big fat full voicing to put underneath it, then just do 2 notes, right? Right? So we go 3. I did a chromatic movement down with that minor 7th to the 2 chord. So really what it comes down to is me experimenting and creating and allowing different things to happen. So let's kind of speed up the process here and get to the bridge, because I think there will be some other lessons we can learn there. So far we have that's one option to finish off the A section. Then for the B section, we go to concert A major. So 2, 5, E major. And the melody goes. So let's find some notes, some chords to put underneath those notes. So let's start with this basic voicing for an A major 7. Now, what can we play here? So the chord is the 6th chord of A major. Okay, that's F sharp. So let's play this diminished 7th voicing, because actually this diminished 7th voicing, if we put the bass here, is basically like we're playing an F sharp flat 9 chord. So again, I'm looking at what the top note is and then seeing, what kind of notes can we add underneath it to add color. So right now, let's play this 2 chord, because that's another important chordal moment. Right, so this is just an E7 dominant 7th chord. Okay, we played that before, that's a sharp 9. Okay, now we're at the 5 chord. Let's do maybe a sus thing, because again, on the fretboard, I got all the way up here. So there's a nice sharp 11 voicing there that we can play. Then we go to a dominant 7th A. Well, that's the melody note on top. So here's a good voicing that I could use for the dominant 7. this is the 2 chord here. Here's one voicing that we could play. Okay, this is a really fun, cool voicing we could play. Okay, but we could play something else too. Like again, we could play this voicing. Here's our G note. But I really like this one. This is a good voicing. So again, if you don't know that voicing, that's okay too. It's just, again, about trying to figure it out. Like, you know, this is the 11th, right? So this is 1/11th voicing. This is 1 minor 11th voicing. We could find others, right? Okay, there's our 5 chord. And now we're back at the top of the A section, okay? So always making those choices. After talking about some of my thought process as I go through this and some concepts, let's go ahead and I'm just going to play my own rendition here of chord melody of Polka Dots and Moonbeams. Now, by the way, another concept that guitar and piano players really need to deal with is the concept of comping and accompanying soloists. So I have on the screen a video that will help you do exactly that, give you the basics of how to start comping in jazz. So check out that video right now. All right, so that's all for today's video. Make sure you like this video if you found it helpful. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.